Good morning, everyone. We're happy that you guys can join. Hopefully, you guys can see the screen here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. There's still like 3 people trying to join. Let me add them in really quick. All right. All right, so again, we thank you guys for joining. We're going to go over a few things this morning, and then we'll show a video about coupling and uncoupling. But again, like we said, appreciate you guys taking some time out, and we'll get started here. Dave, you want to take it away?
I'd be glad to. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to talk today about a couple of things. One, primarily, is being a professional driver. I think I've given you the information that professional driver is one who can do his job or his or her job and is accountable to for all the people who don't know how to drive. And as a professional driver, you kind of know that like 90% of the people on the road really don't know how to drive. They know how to get the car from one place to the other, but they're not observing on their speeds. They're not observant on their turn signals. They're not observant in passing. There's a whole lot of things that they don't do. Well, you're accountable for those things that they don't do as a professional driver. It doesn't mean you're at fault. It means that you can do things to prevent the accidents from happening. Okay. I was at a meeting. I don't know if I told you or not, but about a month ago, I was at a meeting with several contractors and senior management, including the president of the company, John Smith. And they wanted information from us particular contractors for reasons. One of the things is that they FedEx spent about $500 million in 1 year to pay off accidents. That is a lot of money. It's $500 million. And so they're instituting things that will make us more alert, more aware of what's going on around us, and also make us more accountable to them. Not only do we have the cameras that face in and out, which is the video recording devices, which is required, and the speed limit is restricted to 65 miles an hour, but they now have things, they have people that are monitoring, and it's not really people, it's an algorithm. If your truck goes over a bump, it will, your recorder will automatically record. And there's an algorithm that this company has that says that you are doing something wrong. Now, it's an algorithm, not a person. I've had probably 3 or 4 of these, and I contested all of them and won all of the contest contesting it. I won it each time. But what that says is that they are monitoring things that you do and trying to eliminate bad behavior, such as cell phones or reaching for food or following too close and all that. Following distance is the #1 cause of accidents so far. It's like 60%, 65, 70% of accidents are from following too close. And that's the result of it. The cause of it is people are not paying attention and they're doing other things. For instance, being on the cell phone, talking on the phone, doing all the things that are distractions, and you're not paying attention. If you're following too close, then you don't have time to recover from doing these things that are not correct. In this time, and I don't know if you know this or not, but we as contractors are judged by the number of accidents or incidents that we have with our company, my company anyway. Okay, and there are levels that we have: levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Anything 2 and below, if level 1, you get down to level 1, and I say down to level 1, you're seriously putting the company at risk of having the contract not replaced, or in some cases, having the contract canceled. So it is in your best interest and in the interest of Lugmo that you really, really pay attention to this. It's going to get harder and harder not to drag the company down in some of the things that we do in order to survive, so to speak. Um, Today's economy is not that great. I don't know if you noticed that a lot of freight is down. So because of the banking situation and because of the Fed raising the interest rates and trying deliberately slowing the economy down, the whole economy is slowing down. So it behooves us to, in this environment, to do the best job we can do. Be your professional self. Safety is one of those things. How are you being safe? You're being safe by getting enough rest before you leave, planning your route, checking the weather, figuring out how you're going to get from here to there, when you're going to make your changes, all those things. Okay? One of the new things that's being brought up now, and is one of the, excuse me, one of the things that more and more states have adopted, and that each of the highway patrols are enforcing more and more, is the move over lane. Meaning that if you have on the side of the shoulder of the road, if you see something with a flashing light, either a DOT, Department of Transportation, Police Department, Fire Department, wrecker with lights on the side of the road, you are required to move over one lane. If you cannot move over one lane, then you're required to slow down, considerably slow down, to avoid incidents. We've had there, I think the last count I had, there were 100 or so, 102 officers killed on the highway by cars passing by. So be aware that they're really cracking down on that now. So you need to be aware in your mind that if you see a flashing light on the side of the road, the first thing you're going to think about is moving over. Drive defensively, which I've mentioned many, many, many times. Defensively means that you are aware, you're checking your mirrors every 10 seconds to see what's beside you, what's behind you. You're figuring out in your head, if this car does this or this car does that, what am I going to do? Am I slow enough to stop it? Can I move over one lane because there's nothing on the side of me, and you know that because you've been looking in your mirrors? Do I need to drive in this particular situation slower? Is there a construction zone, which is going to be a big deal now that spring and summer is coming? There's been a lot of damage on a lot of these roads because of the weather. So there's going to be a lot more construction going on, plus the fact that the federal government has issued a lot of money to repair highways and roads and bridges. So there's going to be a lot of construction. So you need to be aware when all of these things are going on, other people may not pay attention to those. And you drive defensively, you must pay attention to them and pay attention to what they are doing. I'm going to repeat again. There should be no distractions. You should not be on your cell phones. A handheld, you're not supposed to have your phone in your hand, but even if you have it mounted, I think I told you that carrying on a phone conversation while you're moving takes your mind away from what it is you're supposed to be doing. Save your conversations for when you are in the sleeper. If you need your phone at all for anything, like navigation, then leave it so that it doesn't ring. Okay? Don't use voice to text if you absolutely have to. But don't use Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or YouTube. I've seen drivers driving down the road looking at YouTubes. and TikToks. Don't check or send for emails. Okay? Don't take photos. One of the things that I had recently surprised me. One of my drivers is in his truck with his phone taking a picture of another car next to him. Now, I asked him about it, and I understood why he was doing it. The driver was doing something that he was not, the other driver was doing something he wasn't supposed to. And he wanted to make sure that it was caught on tape. But in process of doing that, he violated the rules. Okay? No photos. If you need to take photos, get out of the truck. Stop the truck. And if you have the phone in your hand, you must be parked. You can't be at a light or at a stop sign or a stoplight. Okay? You get a message, have your family, if they need to get in touch with you, call your dispatcher. The dispatcher will be able to tell when you're going to be in the sleeper or when you're not in the sleeper, and have you then notify members of your family. There's a reason for that, especially if there's something that seriously happens, because you can be distracted unbelievably if you find out that somebody that you care about and really love is in the hospital, or somebody was hurt. That's where your mind goes, because you love them. So these are all the things that you need to be concerned about. Okay? Your livelihood, Lugmo's viability, the safety of all the passengers that are in cars around you and in trucks, and your safety and the safety of your co-driver are all dependent on you being aware, not distracted, paying attention to what's going on, and obeying the rules in terms of speed limit, in terms of lanes you're supposed to be in terms of what's going on all around you. Your driver's license is a way to make your living. It is your living. It's not a thing that you do to let you drive the truck. It's how you make your living. One other thing I want to bring up, because it also happened to a driver, one of the contractors that I know. His driver got a ticket in his car for doing 80 miles an hour in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. And he thought, no problem, I'm in my car. Well, it's not illegal to do that for FedEx. I mean, it's not illegal. I mean, you do pay the ticket. They may not take your light driver's license away, but FedEx will disqualify you from driving for them. You cannot exceed 10 miles over any posted speed limit, even in your own car. Okay, that's all I have right now. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna show a video here of Xenia wanted me to show. 1 second. Let me switch over. All right, part of the information that was be covered in this training as well, for the safety meeting, just as a refresher about the fifth wheels with coupling and uncoupling. The video from the manufacturer that FedEx uses for its dollies. They put a video together several years ago, and she just wanted me to show it just for refresher purposes to go along with the information that we discussed today in regards to construction zones. So just being mindful that slow down. You definitely want to reduce your speed when going through construction zones, whether you see workers or not. Always assume that there's people around, you just may not see them, and also assume that the CHP or highway patrol or whatever state you're in, that they're nearby watching to try to get catch drivers that are breaking the law in those zones. The other thing I want to mention right before we show this, and then after the video we'll end. But I know it was last year sometime. I was based on the safety program and stuff that I have. I was subpoenaed for a deposition for a driver that got into a bad accident, and he ended up hurting and killing someone. And to my astonishment, when I looked at the deposition, I noticed that the party that the family of the driver that was passed away, the family and their attorney, they decided to sue FedEx, which pretty common. They sued the contractor, which is becoming more common. And I also noticed that they're suing the driver personally, which I thought was something new. And I started thinking after that, after I went through my portion of it, of now the personal responsibility and liability that a driver has, and how bad accidents, especially where it results in a fatality, can now be put in a way where these attorneys are now going after the driver as well. So now you talk about your personal assets being on the line. You're talking about things that you might own or have, money in the bank. They'll try to go after it just to get more money. And I like to tell drivers that understand FedEx has insurance. They can write a check. The contractor has insurance, right? I'm sure you're now riding around with personal or professional liability insurance for yourself. But the thing is the thing that you can't control is making sure that you weren't negligent, because that's what they're going after. Was the driver negligent? Did he check his vehicle before he got into this accident? When the last time, defects were reported? When was the last time he rested? And all these different things. Can they find a driver being negligent as part of this situation? And then that causes, from an attorney standpoint, now they look at opportunity to get more money in these situations. So I like to bring it up, on occasion, the fact that you got to understand the bigger picture now. It's not just, you hop into a truck and you just go pick up trailers and drop them off. What you do is very important to the economy. What you do is very important to yourself, to the company you work for. It's just like a doctor. If they were to mess up on a surgery, guess what's going to happen? Just from a professional standpoint, you got to have the right mindset every time you get into a vehicle, every time you do a pre-trip inspection, every time you hook up and connect your set. Everything has to be in the right mindset that I do not want to be held liable for skipping a step or not following through on the proper procedures that the company put in place or that DOT put in place. Because if you do, things can happen and things can snowball really quickly. So you don't want to just assume, you don't want to just skip steps. You don't want to get in a situation where they could deem you negligent in a situation and something bad happens. So take your time. Like I said, get your rest, be focused, don't take chances that are not necessary. Be vigilant in everything that you do, because society is changing a lot. Like I like to say, everybody likes to sue each other until you're personally involved. And then it's like, whoa, this seems unfair. But you got to really be mindful of, where you are, where you're at, and how society is moving and changing, because things are getting a lot more serious, especially in professions where you're considered a professional. All right. So I'm going to play this video, and it's a quick video here. but it's something that one of the manufacturers for the fifth wheels put together. It's probably not new to most of you guys, but just some information for you.
This is a Holland fifth wheel, and you can tell the Holland fifth wheel because it's got a threaded rod that is in the front of the fifth wheel with a nut and washer, and it's got a release handle on the left-hand side. When the fifth wheel is coupled, that bolt, that threaded rod will go firmly against the body of the fifth wheel. The release handle is all the way in, and the jaws are around the kingpin. The manufacturer states that you cannot rely on the pull test or sound when coupling a trailer. It recommends that the operator gets out and looks to make sure that there's no space between the top of the fifth wheel and the bottom of the trailer. The nut and washer is firmly up against the body of the fifth wheel, and the release handle is all the way in, and the jaws are firmly around the kingpin.
All right, any questions?
Yep. No.
Okay, you guys have anything else, Xenia or Amato?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna do the FedEx updates. Orlando office. They opened the office, so if you have any issue, event, or need something with dispatch, you can just go to the office and they will be willing to help you with that. Also, they have a security manager on the yard. You know, he's looking for proper shoes, or people wearing vests, and proper work clothes. You know, and they want it at all time. Even if you gotta go use the bathroom or something, please wear your best on that. Ocala, Lionel, just to remind you, to you guys drivers, just avoid passing all the vehicles, changing pretty back and forth between lanes during the foggy conditions, and raining. You know, just to prevent accidents during bad weather. If you get too risky, just let Amado or myself, Aleman, know. And that should be for FedEx updates. Lugmo's updates. You know, I just want to say happy birthday to all the drivers that born in March. Coupling. Hey, Mike, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. The other day up in Jacksonville at the rail yard, you'll notice the picture on the thing. It might be a little bit difficult to see. I'll be happy to send it to you, all three views. What it is a owner operator pulling out from his trailer, got turned, started heading out towards the gate. Sure enough, trailer came off. What do you want to bet? He didn't take 2 seconds, just like we saw in the video, to physically look at your fifth wheel. Make sure those jaws are closed. Make sure you do your tug test too, but make sure you visually check that fifth wheel. Reason why that's important and is going to become
What's going on?
Hello,
I don't know.
can you guys hear me?
It's okay. But it's just make sure. That's all I'm saying is last time the strike happened with the Teamsters, Things are starting to get a little chippy at some places. They're starting to have small demonstrations at the customers. Be polite. Don't get in the middle of it. Don't get anybody angry. Don't get in the shouting matches. Don't start with smart aleck comments to them. Nod politely. Go about your business. Don't become a problem. Make sure your fifth wheel is hooked up. Make sure you're visually checking it. And make sure that when you get away from that truck, that before you get back in it, you're looking at stuff to make sure everything's okay. Y'all be safe out there.
All right, everyone. I think that's it. We appreciate you guys. Have a safe month, and thank you guys. We'll talk again soon. Bye.